As we continue to indulge in leftovers this holiday weekend, Tony Dokoupil is talking turkey with top chefs Tom Colicchio.
I kind of wanted a smaller fennel, but I'll take this.
Well, I was going to ask you about it. I got a lot of questions about fennel, actually.
I'll take this one.
Yeah. That one? Okay.
Yeah.
When you find yourself at the farmer's market next to a guy with opinions this strong about fennel and scallions, you listen.
I mean, this is nice and fresh. So what's nice about it, you can see it's fresh because if you look at the cut end, the cut end isn't browned out yet.
And that's especially true if the guy is Tom Colicchio.
Honey water? You washed out the honey flavor. I was like, where's the honey? I'm looking for honey.
Who for more than 20 seasons now has been a judge on one of America's biggest food shows, Top Chef.
So the question is, why didn't you want to take the responsibility?
While also, by the way, working as one of America's most successful restaurateurs.
Probably 85% of the produce we buy, we're buying from the farmer's market.
Wow.
Many of his celebrated dishes have started here at a local green market in New York City's Union Square. But lately, the meals he enjoys the most are even more local than these ingredients.
I cook very simply at home. It's not the food part of it. I enjoy the half an hour, 45 minutes that we're sitting together as a family.
Now 62, married and a father of 3, Colicchio is sharing the story of his many lives in the kitchen in a new book, Why I Cook.
If you had to put it in a few words, why do you cook?
I mean, partly it was something that I found at a very young age that I was good at. It came very easy.
Thomas Patrick Colicchio grew up in Elizabeth, New Jersey, sharing a bedroom with 2 brothers and big, boisterous family meals in a working-class Italian neighborhood. While Mom ran the family kitchen, it was Dad, a gambler turned corrections officer, who helped turn Tom into a chef.
Having ADHD, I struggled with recipes. I get frustrated by recipes, but I loved cooking. And my dad wasn't the kind of dad who sat down and had these long conversations with you about your future. But he came home with these books. You know, I have no idea what La Technique was doing in a county jail library, but there it was.
Yes, Jacques Pepin's La Technique is what helped Colicchio understand the fundamentals of cooking.
Once I understood that, I could look at a recipe and go, oh, they want me to roast something here. I know how to roast something, so I don't need the recipe anymore. Or I can braise something. But now, when I braise it, well, I could change the flavor profile by adding different things into that braise.
The kitchen, however, was where Colicchio learned how to be himself. A place where, in the chaos of orders and ingredients, he found a calling.
Add the onion and the ginger and the fennel now. I'm going to wait and add the garlic towards the end, only because it does have a tendency to burn very quickly.
His career took off fast, from flipping burgers at a local snack bar to building whole menus at a North New Jersey hotspot, and ultimately to New York City, where, not yet 30, he earned his first 3-star review from the New York Times.
You're an entrepreneur. You've managed to develop yourself as a chef. Did you learn lessons from your father's experiences with business?
I don't think that my entrepreneurial spirit came from my father or came from my family at all. I think it came from the fact that I worked in kitchens and worked in restaurants that I didn't like, and I didn't want to have a boss.
But even as he soared professionally, becoming executive chef at New York's celebrated Gramercy Tavern, Colicchio's private life was cruising toward rock bottom.
I was doing drugs when I was cooking the whole time.
The whole time, wow.
And had a bad night and ended up in Harlem somewhere with another cook getting a bunch of drugs and, you know, getting high all night, and woke up in my bed, my shirt was covered in blood. I don't remember getting home, and which kind of scared me is I was driving a motorcycle.
Wow.
So somehow I made it home, but that was it. I woke up and said, that's it, no more.
He quit the drugs, but his working-class roots still led to some awkward moments in the Frenchified, fancy world of fine dining.
I knew I could hold my own, but I just still felt like I was a fish out of water here. Now I'm in New York. You know, you get 3 stars, and now all of a sudden you get pulled in a lot of different directions. And yes, was there a certain amount of imposter syndrome? Absolutely. We know you're talented chefs. That's why you're asked to come back.
You tried to say no to Top Chef.
Yeah. You both kind of made small little mistakes, but on different sides of the spectrum. Lisa. I also, didn't really love food TV.
But then,
I'd go to a food festival, like Aspen Food and Wine, come time to sign books, and I'm sitting next to Bobby Flay, and he's signing 300, and I'm signing 20. I didn't think it was because he had a better book. He was on TV.
He's on
So I was
TV.
like, all right, let me do this TV thing.
looking back now in his new book, Colicchio traces the arc of a changing industry where sexism and even abuse has been replaced by something a little kinder and a lot more welcoming.
There's still voices being raised.
Okay.
It's a little different than it used to be, but there's still, in the middle of service, there are times you got to be forceful, but you have to be sure it's not personal. What's really missing is a lot of the misogyny that I saw. Meat in.
But for Tom Colicchio, after all these years, the one thing that hasn't changed
Get some of the
is the
peppers and
one
this.
thing that also keeps him in the kitchen.
And looking back on it, food has the power to bring people around a table. And to this day, I love doing dinner parties, love having people over. That's, I think, another reason why I cook.